Stop! Go ahead. Make my day.
Ever wanted to know more about Dirty Harry?
Sure you want the rest of it?
If you're a fan of the 1971 Warner Brothers classic, then Dirty Harry Minute could be the podcast for you. Part of the Movies by Minute project, Dirty Harry Minute analyses, criticises and celebrates every minute of the Clint Eastwood 44 Magnum epic. Get on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, wherever you get your favourites. Hasta la vista, baby. No, that's way off. Dirty Harry Minute.
Welcome to Dirty Harry Minute, the only podcast that reviews every minute of the 1971 Warner Brothers masterpiece starring Andy Robinson and some big guy called Clint Eastwood. I'm your host, John, and as ever, I'm joined with Tim.
Hi.
And Trent.
Hello.
And Glyn.
Hello.
Thank you for coming back.
We're also quickly joined, I should say, by a giant vibrator in the back you might be able to hear occasionally.
It's an industrial vibrator.
Yeah, so apologies.
He speaks, of course, of the wood chipper that their neighbours are using.
There goes another body. Yes.
Minute 2 begins with that something blurry being revealed to be a rifle with a sniper.
Yes. With a suppressor.
Oh, sorry. I'm not down with the lingo. And then ends with a sunglassed man walking past some blue deck chairs.
Yes, indeed.
What did you think about this minute, Glyn?
I thought it was great.
Packed full of excitement, Tim?
Yeah.
Yes.
Clearly superior to the first minute.
Well, there's some rather tragic events unfold.
Yes. Yes, it was very tragic.
Did anyone happen to notice some of the names of the buildings?
So there was. I just noticed that the Columbus Tower. I think that the building they're actually in is the Columbus Tower because it was like to the left of the pool. Yeah. So there's like the slow pan out from the pool, and then you see over the shoulder of the dude with the rifle. I also noticed that the water is exceptionally blue in the pool, and I was like, that's got to be CG. That's clearly computer graphics.
I noticed on the right there was a building and it seemed to say Finks at the start of whatever the business was.
Yeah, I picked that up too, yeah.
Which is notable only because the writers of the film had the surname Fink.
Boom, boom, picked it
spelt
up.
the same?
Yep.
Or did it have an E at the end, Finky?
Oh, did it? Oh, okay.
I noticed that too. I noticed the pool only took up a small area of the roof. Wonder if Hilton was a bit cash-strapped in those days before Paris brought some money in.
I also think that it's actually compressed visually because I'm pretty sure the film was shot with Panavision, and probably the way those Panavision lenses work to give you the widescreen is that as something gets further away and it gets blurry, then it gets like more compressed. So you can see that in a lot of those old movies where things in the background look elongated because of the type of lens they're using. Yeah, I'm in there.
Did you find convincing the audio of the poor woman's gasping for breath after she shot?
Yeah, I guess it seemed reasonably convincing. I've never heard a woman dying from getting shot in a pool, so I don't really have a reference point.
My first thought was like it looks a bit like overacting, but then, like you say, it's like I don't really know what it look like.
Yeah, like how do you act for like getting shot while swimming in a crocheted yellow swimsuit? Yeah.
Back to the crocheting.
Yeah, I'm just amazed by it. Like, I guess it was just a thing in those days.
It's also of a piece of Shagyo's cardigan. Sorry, Scorpio's cardigan.
Yeah.
Or whoever this man is. Sorry, this sniper man.
I just occurred to me, do you think that they chose a yellow swimsuit to sort of contrast with the red of blood?
The red blood, yeah. And, of
possibly.
course, if you listen to food marketing, it was probably to make us hungry.
Yeah,
because of the
red
whole
and yellow.
Red and yellow thing.
Yeah. In the extremely blue water.
Yeah, well, because it's the start of the movie, and so they want you to eat all that popcorn.
Right.
Like, so I reckon that's what they were thinking. Yeah, definitely.
So, Tim, of course, this is the first time we see the characteristic red blood that we'll see in the rest of this movie, or the whole series.
Rewatching it, I actually was expecting the blood to look a bit more fake, but I think it wasn't like bright red in the pool. It sort of came across as I wouldn't say like super realistic, but it did the job.
Yeah,
looked
there's also
coppery.
not a lot of it.
No, there isn't.
In this movie, there's not a lot of blood, really.
Well, and it's just even the gunshot, because it's like, if she's being shot with a rifle, it's like that just... This whole thing with movies, like, bullets just go straight through people. Like, there's none of this, like, they go blasting back or anything like that. It's like, it's, we're nothing to a bullet. It's just ping straight through. So, yeah. But I guess, that how they can... This is always the thing with movies, especially back in those days, is... You watch the whole movie and they can't go too hardcore. But like, that would have been pretty gory for the day, but like, of course it's not realistic. It's like, it probably shouldn't be. Like,
it's been a long time since I've only seen Bonnie and Clyde once or twice. The shootout at the end.
Yeah.
Have you seen that recently, guys?
Pretty
Is
graphic.
it pretty
not
graphic?
for a long time, but I do remember it being really... The sound was aggressive because it was just constant for, a couple of minutes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Felt like a few minutes.
yeah. The sound is... Well, they say that's the whole thing with like Fight Club, with a lot of the scenes in Fight Club. That,
No, the thing about Fight Club is you don't talk about it.
yeah. I know, but people talk about how...
Let's not talk about that.
How they talk about how it's the sound that actually gets a lot of people, and it's actually not. There's a lot of bits that aren't that gruesome, and it's the sound that makes people feel like sick and stuff like that. So yeah.
Now, Trent, the photography in this movie's, I love it.
Oh, it's amazing. It captures... It used to remind me of sort of glary days and whatnot, but I realise it captures a weird light that happens in the northern hemisphere. We don't get it really in Australia, maybe mid-morning and late afternoon sometimes, but yeah, it's a really glary... sort of washes things out, colours out and whatever. It looks amazing.
I was going to try and guess when they may have filmed this, but I think San Francisco's weather is pretty mild throughout the whole year.
Yeah, right.
So.
But it's always got that wind. You can see Scorpio's hair. Even though there's a great, gorgeous sun, there's that wind.
Well, yeah, I assume it was early in the morning. Most of those shoots like that are always super early in the morning where they want natural sunlight.
So, John, did you go up to that building when you were in San Francisco?
No. I'm sure even before September 11th, they were,
Security was tight.
keeping security. I didn't even attempt to go up there. I'd read some other blog posts.
Did you say that's the Hilton?
In the Hilton, no, I didn't even attempt it. I've read some posts as well that the pool's closed, maybe in 2009 or 10, and now they're growing vegetables up there ad hoc for the use in the kitchen of the Hilton.
Oh, that's
But
nice.
I'd love to have gone there. I went to San Francisco, listeners, recently for my honeymoon and talked the wife into visiting a lot of the locations. And those two locations would have been the
That's a shame.
piece de resistance, but I didn't even tackle it.
But so where the pool was, that was actually the Columbus Tower.
No, it was the Hilton, I think.
It was actually... Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's now the Hilton Chinatown, it's been branded.
Yeah. The Columbus Tower, just to point out, is much of the building, I won't quote verbatim here, but is occupied by film studio American Zoetrope, which is Francis Ford Coppola's company.
Yeah.
So, which would have been founded that year when I'm assuming it was shot mostly in 1970 rather than 71. But yeah, it was about that year he started taking over that building. So there you go.
Maybe there would have been some film rushes from THX in there.
Maybe.
Just been filmed earlier in the year before or so, where they used the then as unbuilt BART rapid transit system, whatever it's called.
Also a Kinney company production.
And of course Lalo Schifrin to provide the music for that as well.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie.
It's only episode 2 and we're making references to episode 1.
That's right.
Well, it's a pretty disturbing minute, isn't it, Glyn? I mean,
It is. It's extremely disturbing.
I mean, it's very shocking. I don't know if you'd ever seen a sniper or killer in a movie before. They don't need to be near you, and
Yeah. I
it's
mean, by the
terrifying.
time that
There's
I
no
saw
warning.
it, by the time I saw Dirty Harry, I think I'd seen plenty of
Yes.
of sniper rifles in movies. But yeah, it's always... I mean, because the whole thing is just so random. Like, who is this girl? What has he got to do with her? Like, why is this guy... And so it's just... Yeah, just seems to be some random girl and just decides to shoot her, and it's like, what the...
It's also significant because this is the only, Tim, actual murder we see Scorpio commit in the movie, isn't it?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Everything else happens off screen as implied,
Yep.
apart from his attempted murder
Yeah,
of Harry.
that's true.
It's not to go all, social commentary here, but it was it came out about 8 years after the JFK assassination, and
Yep.
I mean that was fresh. They refer to it as being the day America lost its innocence, and not to mock that, but it's something that was fresh in a lot of people's minds. So it would have been very confronting just to see that shot through the barrel or over the shoulder of the assassin, I imagine.
Not to worry. Dirty Harry's on the case.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He will avenge you, hot girl in swimsuit.
So I guess when he shows up,
Right.
you don't necessarily know it's Dirty Harry.
No.
You just see this guy in this grey suit, red vest.
Yeah, yeah.
Cheap off the shelf suit, as we'll later.
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about.
It looks dated, but it still looks kind of cool on him, at least.
Exactly, yeah. He can rock it. I think if you're Clint Eastwood, you can.
Well, Trent, we
you
know
can
some
rock it.
teachers at our school that wore that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beyond us and other people.
Oh yeah, and does he
things.
have like the leather patches on the elbows?
does.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
that's
in The
style.
Simpsons, where Homer
Yeah,
does it
yeah.
the wrong way around when he becomes the professor at the local school.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I always love how when you see him, so he enters through an exit door,
Yeah.
and
Doesn't even say thanks to the
yeah,
black
doesn't even say
police
thanks to the dude
officer,
standing
yeah.
guard. In fact, the
Always
guy
takes it.
standing guard at the door looks like vaguely surprised when he comes through. He's like, "What the?" And then and then if you also notice the door above the exit door, above the exit door, there's a light and it's still on. It's like, and it's clearly the middle of the day, and it's like, what the hell, guys? This is why we have global warming, because you left lights on rooftops during the day. Just, what a
In their
waste.
defense, that might be like a law, some with like emergency exits. You always have to
True.
have these
Yeah.
things eliminated and visible.
Or in pools too, even if it's closed and fenced
Yeah,
off. If there are lights, they're
yeah.
supposed to be on under the water.
especially if it's a hotel.
Yeah, well,
True.
yeah. Or helicopters, because it's on a rooftop. They've got to see the light there, maybe.
Could have been a stormy day for all you know.
It could have still. I'm just like, maybe have a motion detector or something, guys. Come on. Think of sustainability.
Before we move on to the sunglass detective walking up the stairs, it might be a good time to point out that this is the first time in the movie the only time we see many close-up shots.
Yeah, true.
People have pointed out that Siegel and the cinematographer Bruce Surtees give it sort of documentary-style filming in this movie, and that there's not many close-ups generally. They're all sort of medium shots, and he's establishing shots. He loves them later on. We'll see of the Hall of Justice. And that there's no... Yeah, so there's... Obviously, the nature of the scene, we have to have the view through the... What's it called again? Not sniper, or the...
The suppressor.
Through the suppressor view is one of the few establishing shots we get. Later on, we'll see Scorpio's highlighted eyes in Kezar Stadium when he sees Harry come in, but...
Oh, yeah. And that's almost like key lighting, like
Yeah.
old school Star Trek kind of stuff.
That's right. And it's a bit of contrast to the Sergio Leone close-up. It's not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that at all. It doesn't linger.
With the suppressor, you're saying before that it suppresses the sound a little bit.
Yeah.
Does it suppress the kickback? Because he doesn't look like he's... Yeah.
No,
he just,
not at all. Yeah, but it's the kickbacks. I don't know. I
Surely it's all sound related.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, surely
Absolutely.
he's acting. I mean, for a lot of those movies now, especially where even the muzzle flash and everything is all CG, so they've got to be like, yeah. I mean, there was that thing people talking about. Like, I know that we're not a Star Wars podcast, but have you seen that GIF of of Lauren Dern shooting a laser gun, and you can
Last
see
Jedi.
her like going pew pew with her mouth, like as she's shooting the laser gun, and apparently that was a thing. That like where a lot of people that when they start doing the battles with the sabers, you've got to like tell them, like the actors like vroom, vroom. It's like shut up, and it's like Ewan, stop it, like. So yeah, but I know I didn't. The kick, I just assumed that that was just but who knows?
Once again, the great music. You hear the...
electric piano.
Yeah. I was thinking to the tumblers or whatever, the Indian blip, 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 over the drums, the
Oh, the
tumblers.
tabla.
Oh, yeah.
It's quite effective.
Hey, this thought just occurred to me. Like, So Scorpio, we don't ever really learn much about him, but he knows how to use a sniper rifle. So, like, does that hint at some sort of military background?
Yeah. There's a scene later on in North Beach we'll get to soon if this podcast is successful, where you saw him, he looks down at his shoes and they look like black military shoes with white shoelaces, though.
Yeah, right.
He's sort of rubbing it when he tears the newspaper.
Yeah, right.
He's certainly well versed with,
I mean, he could be a failed, like someone who wanted to join the army but really didn't have the stuff, like isn't kind of fit and strong enough. But, you know, you can still, don't forget, it's America. You can learn how to shoot if you want to learn how to shoot. Like, if you want to go to a shooting range and practice with your sniper rifle.
In the novelisation, they have Clint as a former Marine, but, you know, in his youth, and has now been on the force for 20 years or whatever, so it's intimated in the background.
That makes sense. I mean, the real Clint Eastwood was in the army in some capacity.
He was a lifeguard coach at the military and missed, his numbers never came up to go to Korea.
Interestingly enough about the Scorpio character, it was originally written for and cast with Audie Murphy, who was a decorated World War II veteran who made a number of films, and he died, I think, in 1971, not long after it was released, but he was known as a World War II veteran, so I wonder, you know, the original character would have, I think he was meant to be a veteran who'd gone a bit nutso.
Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
It changes the character because he would have been in his mid-40s as opposed to Scorpio. Sorry, is obviously in his 20s or something like that.
That's right.
Yeah, and he's kind of snivelling, Scorpio.
Yeah,
like he's not. He's clearly capable, but he's not sort of calm and collected, and so I don't know about him really being a vet because he doesn't seem to have the calmness.
Yeah,
like he's all sort of all over the place, but I guess he's proficient.
Could be a 4F.
As we'll discuss, there were 4 or 5 versions of this script done by the original Finks. And then Malick and then John Milius and all these assorted characters.
Wait, Terrence Malick.
Yeah, we'll hear about that in later minutes. So in the novelisation, they posit that Scorpio is recently escaped from a mental asylum. He killed his parents with a sniper rifle as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So there's all these conflicting backgrounds, but that's all well in the future.
Well, because the character originally was based off the Zodiac Killer, right? That's what I heard. That was part of the influence.
With the mixture of the Walt Whitmans and maybe a bit of Manson and stuff.
But I don't think the Zodiac ever used a sniper rifle.
No, he definitely did not. But I think the whole, the sending the messages to the police and, taunting the police, that was based off Zodiac.
And he threatened to hijack or shoot kids in a bus or something.
Yeah, charming.
But Tim's the real Zodiac scholar, aren't you? Fincher man.
More like a morbid curiosity.
I meant the movie, Fincher.
Oh,
Fanatic,
yeah.
Oh, it's
I've
great.
only seen it once. I thought it was alright.
Just alright.
You have to convince me over 97 more minutes, guys. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for this minute. I just noticed when Clint comes up to the end of the stairs up to the pool, it looks like he's going to say his trademark line, Jesus.
Yeah,
he
doesn't. It totally does.
Looking for words, but he can't find them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we've got our first title card.
Yes.
Clint Eastwood on the screen in yellow font. I think there's a bit of black bordering, but most interesting, the person who put that lettering together was very cautious, because I don't know if you've ever seen Clint where the C and the L are pushed really close. Sorry, the L and the I are pushed really close together. Anyway.
Dodged a curveball there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the dirty's in red, isn't it?
Yeah.
On the VHS, that always looked a bit faint to me, obviously, because of the contrast of the yellow. I don't know why they...
Wait, are we on the second
chose
minute?
to do
Has
that.
that come up yet?
That's the next minute. You broke the rules, man. But see, the thing is, whenever I see Clint Eastwood, the name now written down, it reminds me of Back to the Future 3, how he accidentally gives his name as Eastwood. And I just love hearing Biff
there's no
talk
accident about it.
Yeah. But I just love old Biff talking about, it's between me and Eastwood. And I just love that kind of stuff.
Is that?
Yeah.
Well, before I saw Dirty Harry in that film and TV class, that was the first exposure. I said, that's the same name as Marty J.
Yeah. I just said, he's so imitated. And the thing that always wondered me is, in his later movies, you can see he's got this, because he's scowling all the time, he's got this, permanent line in the top of his nose. And I just wondered, at what point did that become permanent? Because he's just constantly doing this all the time. And
There's a quote on the extra on the DVD from John Milius saying that Clint told him, I don't say words too good, but I stare really well.
He does. He's great at staring. He's also good at writing romantic love songs. Check that if you don't believe me.
Check it out, listeners. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for minute 2 of Dirty Harry Minute. Thank you for joining me, Tim.
Thank you.
Trent.
Thank you, John.
Glyn.
Thank you very much.
Will you all return?
Of course.
Gladly.
Absolutely.
Say goodbye. Dirty Harry Minute.